The episode opens with Todd visiting Walt at the lab, his calm demeanor contrasting with the gruesome task that lies ahead. Disposing of Mike's car and then getting to work on the body, his actions another step down a path that he can no longer see any light at the end of. Jesse arrives, and they quickly shut the trunk, preventing him from seeing Mike's body. Jesse asks about handling the 9 men, but Walt curtly replies that he no longer has a vote, making it clear that this is his show now. He says he will handle it, and slams the door in Jesse's face, another signal that Jesse is now just a pawn in Walt's increasingly dangerous game, and the control he so desperately craves. Hank is interviewing one of the 9 men. The man's lawyer wants full immunity in exchange for cooperation, but Hank refuses, his confidence growing, now believing he is in control of the situation. He feels confident that with so many people ready to come forward, he won't have any trouble getting the help he needs, a miscalculation that will soon become clear. Walt meets with Lydia at a coffee shop, his intentions clear. He wants the list of 9 names, but Lydia is hesitant, worried he'll dispose of her after she hands over the information. He dismisses the notion, deeming murdering her right here in this restaurant silly, an insult that barely conceals the deadly potential she is dealing with. She knows that something has happened to Mike and doesn't want to suffer the same fate. She proposes using her connections at work to start moving meth to the Czech Republic, an idea she and Gus had been working on before his demise. This would double Walt's profits and feature less risk, given the drugs would be overseas, a proposition that Walt accepts. She writes down the names for him. After she leaves, we see Walt had brought the recent capsule with him, returning it to its hiding place in the wall when he gets home, a haunting reminder of his past actions and what he is truly capable of. Walt asks Todd for a meeting with his uncle, the one with connections in the prison system, the full scope of Walt's plan now being put into motion. Walt wants Todd's uncle to arrange for all 9 of Mike's men, along with their lawyer, to be killed in prison within 2 minutes of one another. Walt is adamant that it can be done. His ruthlessness knows no bounds. We see a montage of the 10 prison murders, all taking place within seconds of one another, in different locations, using different methods. A brutal display of Walt's calculated power and reach, another step deeper into the abyss of criminality. Gomez tells Hank what has happened, his voice trembling, as the weight of these brutal acts begins to sink in, and they both begin to recognize that they might be in over their heads. Hank, for the first time, is starting to seem defeated. Walt visits with the baby at Hank's house as Hank, now enraged and defeated, comes home from work. He pours a drink for himself and Walt. Hank tells him a story about his job as a teenager, marking trees for removal, a task that made him feel he was in control. Hank reflects that tagging trees is a lot better than chasing monsters, a chilling analogy that has now become reality for him, and he is beginning to question whether he is on the right path. He is also looking to connect with Walt. We see a montage of Walt's business. He's cooking with Todd and moving large quantities to Europe with Lydia, their ruthless operation now in full swing. Money seems to be coming in at an incredible rate, a stark reminder of the success that he has achieved, but at such a heavy cost. Marie and Skylar have a long talk. Marie and Hank have been discussing bringing the kids back home to live with Walt and Skylar, perhaps thinking it is the path to putting their family back together. They believe that perhaps the way for the Whites to repair their family is to have everyone together under one roof, not knowing the true horrors that have been going on and how dangerous Walt has become. Skylar brings Walt to a storage facility she's rented. In the middle is a pile of cash the size of a double bed, the visual impact a clear sign that they have way more money than they can use. There's so much of it, Skylar has given up trying to count it, knowing she cannot possibly launder it all through the car wash. She tells him she wants her kids back, the price for her putting up with everything, her desire for normalcy finally boiling to the surface. We see Walt getting an MRI at his doctor's office, the threat of death and disease never truly leaving him, a reminder of the fragile nature of his existence, even now that he is a kingpin. Walt pays Jesse a visit. Before answering the door, Jesse grabs a gun, his paranoia at an all-time high, and knowing that danger is always waiting for him. Walt says he's just in the neighborhood. They reminisce about the old days, cooking in the RV, his desperate attempt to reconnect with his lost friend. Walt leaves, saying he's left Jesse something. Jesse finds a large duffel bag full of cash outside his door, a bribe to buy his loyalty and his silence. Walt tells Skylar, I'm out, his desire for normalcy now overriding everything else. She seems relieved, finally hoping that this nightmare might be coming to an end. The truth, as always, is that it has just begun. Walt and Skylar have Hank and Marie over for dinner. The tension is high, and the weight of all the lies they have told each other now weighing heavily on everyone. Hank excuses himself to use the bathroom. While there, he looks through a copy of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass and finds an inscription made out to "My other favorite WW." This triggers a memory of Gail and his old reference to a WW being Gus's cook, his obsessive mind now connecting the final pieces of the puzzle as he realizes the truth.